I want to begin this video by stating that this is my own opinion, and you're free to think Gale is better if you want to, and I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. And hey, if you want to see more of my content, feel free to subscribe. Before the video begins, let's go over some stuff. I want to mention that I won't be talking about Gale as much as Messmer, as this video is centered around Messmer, but I will still bring up Gale. So as you all probably know by now, Messmer is probably the best Elden Ring boss, but I haven't seen much on just how good he is, so I want to compare both Messmer and Gale. If you don't know, Gale is hailed as the best FromSoft boss of all time, and that's a title that he is deserving of. Now let's get into the video. The build-up of both of these fights is perfection. And no, I'm not talking about Shadowkeep, that place can sucky. What I'm mainly referring to when I refer to Messmer is the fact that Messmer was even hyped up before the release. I was craving 18 inches of Messmer. We all thought that Messmer was going to be the final boss. And well, he was going to be. But they decided to combine the two DLCs into one, making Messmer a mid to late game boss depending on when you fight him. Throughout the Land of Shadow, we see remnants of Messmer's tyranny all around, showing us what carnage had occurred before we came. Not to mention the bowl cut dude saying his line. That was amazing. I love that. The entire DLC pre-Messmer builds up to Messmer. And to be fair, this is a bit of an unfair comparison since Shadow of the Erdtree is a lot bigger than Ringed City. But don't get me wrong, Gale's buildup is just as peak for how small the DLC is. Gale shows up in the base game pretty early on. You find him literally right at the cathedral, leading you into Ariandel. You then proceed to do his dirty work up until the Dreg Heap, where he really starts to lead you on. You can see messages of him leading you through the Dreg Heap, which I think is incredible. That was such a cool touch the first time I played Dark Souls 3. You then make it to the end of Ringed City, where you face Gale upon the end of the damn world, which genuinely is some of the coolest shit ever, and is a perfect end to the Dark Souls series. The build-up really is a tough one to call, and just for being the end of the Dark Souls series, I'll have to call this one about even. Now, do I even need to explain who wins this category? But hold on, let me just make a case for my boy Messmer. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but anytime Messmer uses his flames, it always comes from the black spot on his right hand. During any spear attack that uses fire, you'll notice Messmer basically buffing from his right hand. It kind of looks like he cuts his hand, and that's what I thought it was originally, but now I'm not too sure. Not really a major thing, I just wanted to point it out since it's so goddamn cool. Anyway, Messmer aesthetically just is one of my favorite designs out of any boss. And the fact that the snake coils through his own body is just so metal. And another point just to add to his already overwhelming cool design is the fact that Marika quite literally ripped out his eye and put in its place a seal of grace. You could say a Marika's soul seal, making Messmer actually blind, while he himself is blind. He uses his snakes to actually see. Then in second phase, Messmer unleashes his inner serpent, and my god, that second phase cutscene is definitely in the top 3 cutscenes of all time. It was about as exciting as Ludwig's phase 2 cutscene. Almost every snake attack as well is just jaw-dropping. It really just can't compete with Gale, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think anyone's surprised that Gale wins, you know, cinematics and design. And as you all have been waiting for, gameplay. Both of these bosses are perfection in this category, It'd be a shorter list to say what I don't like about each of them, but that'd be a very short list. With Messmer, I love the mix-ups of fast and slow attacks on Messmer. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but they all feel very well done, and every time I got killed, I learned something new. It's a difficult boss that doesn't feel unfair. FromSoft definitely went all out with Messmer, and I am so glad. Messmer doesn't have endless follow-ups like Rolana, but he has enough to provide moments of, I've literally never seen that before. And he has two of my favorite attacks in the series. Messmer's fight flows perfectly, and then phase 2 hits and you're introduced to a new mechanic with the snakes. I at first was scared that it would be really janky, but they pulled off second phase perfectly. I have no complaints. On the other hand, Gale is sword combat perfected. While Gale may not be the most challenging, he is telegraphed to perfection. However, if you are a panic roller, prepare to get skill checked, as his cape follow-ups require you to roll perfectly. He gives plenty of windows to punish, making the fight a fun and engaging fight. While the lightning is cool and all, it can definitely be a pain in the ass sometimes, but knowing that wherever the soul bowls hit, or whatever they're called, strikes lightning does help. But overall, I'm just gonna have to give gameplay to Messmer. I won't actually be covering the lore for Gale and Messmer, as there's plenty of videos you can watch to learn the lore yourself, but I will say that personally I think Gale's lore is cooler, but Messmer has a lot more, and we learn a lot more about Messmer, so really it's up to you to decide. I just wanted to include this. I want to mention that Messmer's music has hints of Radagon's theme in it, hinting towards the fact that Messmer is Radagon's son, and that is genuinely so cool. I love both of the songs. I really don't have any complaints about either of them, but Gale just takes this one. Gale's song is extremely hard to beat. Not many songs have beaten Gale's, so it's really difficult for me to sit here and say Messmer wins this. So yeah, there you go. So that's my comparison of Messmer and Gale. At the end of the day, it's really down to just what you prefer. Personally, I prefer gameplay over cinematics, and Messmer might not have the best cinematics, but he's definitely up there, and that's good enough for me. But let me know what you think down below, and thanks for watching.